For decades, Vincent McMahon was professional wrestling's undisputed king, transforming a regional entertainment business into a global empire worth billions. But in 2022, the man who scripted countless storylines lost control of his narrative. From misconduct allegations to hush-money scandals, McMahon's fall from grace shocked the wrestling world. This is the story of how wrestling's most powerful figure went from the boardroom to the shadows. Scandals and legal issues. Earlier this year, Vince McMahon was forced to step down as the CEO and chairman of WWE. The timeline of events leading up to Vince McMahon's resignation has captivated the wrestling world. It all began with a federal lawsuit filed in January 2024 by Janelle Grant, a former WWE employee. The lawsuit also implicated John Laurinaitis, a former WWE executive, as a co-defendant, accusing both men of terrible misconduct. The allegations against McMahon were not entirely new. In 2022, he had temporarily stepped back as CEO while WWE conducted an internal investigation into claims that he paid hush money to women with whom he allegedly had affairs. As Grant's lawsuit became public in 2024, WWE's president, Nick Khan, informed employees of McMahon's resignation in an email, stating that McMahon would no longer have a role with TKO Group Holdings or WWE. In a statement following his resignation, McMahon vehemently denied the allegations, describing them as a vindictive distortion of the truth. In his statement, McMahon said, "I stand by my prior statement that Ms. Grant's lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene made-up instances that never occurred, and is a vindictive distortion of the truth. I intend to vigorously defend myself against these baseless accusations and look forward to clearing my name." Despite his denial, McMahon decided to resign, citing respect for the WWE universe and the company's stakeholders as his reason for stepping down. Vince McMahon is no stranger to controversy. One can even say that he thrives in controversy. While his visionary leadership transformed professional wrestling into a worldwide phenomenon, his legacy has been tainted by legal battles and scandals. In June 2022, the wrestling industry was shaken by revelations of a $3 million hush money payment made by McMahon. WWE Board of Directors launched an investigation, uncovering that McMahon had made a total of $12 million in payments to 4 women, 2 of whom accused him of misconduct. These allegations were not entirely new, as McMahon had faced similar accusations in the past, but the scale and scope of the payments brought renewed probe to his actions. The investigation's findings led to McMahon's temporary step down as CEO of WWE in July 2022, but he resumed again as the CEO in 2023. Now in 2024, the situation worsened when Janelle Grant filed a lawsuit against WWE, McMahon, and John Laurinaitis. Grant's lawsuit, filed in the United States District Court for the District of Connecticut, accused McMahon of assaulting and exploiting her. She sought to have a non-disclosure agreement voided under the Speak Out Act, which deems such agreements illegal and unenforceable in cases of sexual misconduct. Grant's allegations were shocking and detailed, painting a disturbing picture of her experiences while employed by WWE. She claimed that McMahon had recruited individuals, including Laurinaitis, for sexual relations with her. One of such allegations involved an incident in May 2020 where McMahon allegedly defecated upon Grant during a sexual encounter. The lawsuit also accused McMahon of sharing sexually explicit media with a world-famous athlete, identified as former UFC heavyweight champion Brock Lesnar, to entice him to sign a new WWE contract. The fallout from the lawsuit extended beyond McMahon, implicating other key figures within WWE. Grant's attorney revealed the identities of several unnamed corporate officers referenced in the lawsuit, including WWE President Nick Khan and WWE COO Brad Blum. In April 2024, McMahon's lawyers filed a motion to compel arbitration in the case, citing the terms of the non-disclosure agreement. Grant's attorneys countered with a motion to strike, accusing McMahon of using legal tactics to intimidate her. It's important to note that Grant's allegations are not entirely new, and allegations of such nature have been raised as far back as the early 2000s. One of such accusers is a WWE diva named Ashley Massaro. Ashley Massaro's journey began when she emerged victorious in the Raw Divas Search competition, a platform that brought her into the limelight and secured her a contract with WWE. Massaro quickly became a fan favorite, known for her punk rock style and fearless attitude in the ring. During her early days with WWE, Massaro noted the interactions between Vince McMahon, the then chairman and CEO of WWE, and the female wrestlers, often witnessing him engaging in flirtatious behavior with other divas in the locker room. At the time, Massaro believed she was not on McMahon's radar, assuming she was not his type. This perception changed after her appearance on the cover of Playboy magazine in April 2007. Massaro recounted that following the release of the magazine, McMahon's behavior towards her shifted. She was granted privileges such as flying on the company jet and staying at the same hotels as the executives to give her more time with her daughter. These perks, while seemingly beneficial, came with an uncomfortable price. Massaro alleged that during one of these trips, McMahon attempted to get her alone with him in his hotel room late at night, making her feel extraordinarily uncomfortable. He persistently called her hotel room phone and her cell phone, creating a situation that left her feeling trapped and anxious. In a bid to remove herself from the situation, Massaro reached out to then WWE executive producer Kevin Dunn, explaining her predicament. Dunn advised her to feign illness and assure McMahon that she would see him on television the following day. Despite her efforts to maintain professionalism and distance, Massaro claimed that McMahon's advances had lasting repercussions on her career. She alleged that after rejecting his advances, McMahon took deliberate steps to undermine her standing within WWE. He began writing her promos, a task reserved for the creative department and not something he would ordinarily do for female wrestlers. The scripts were crafted with the apparent intention of damaging her reputation and career trajectory. Massaro brought the first of these scripts to Michael Hayes, the WWE employee in charge of creative at the time, who was taken aback by the content and questioned its origin. Upon learning that McMahon was responsible, Hayes acknowledged the unfortunate reality of the situation, implying that Massaro was being targeted for rejecting McMahon's advances. Massaro struggled to maintain her footing in an industry where reputation and character are very important. The scripts she was given were not only damaging, but also served as a constant reminder of the power dynamics at play. Each time she attempted to assert herself, she was met with resistance, as if her career was being systematically dismantled from within. In addition to the professional sabotage, Massaro endured vulgar and inappropriate comments from McMahon whenever she crossed paths with him. These remarks were designed to belittle and intimidate her, creating an environment of discomfort and unease. By July 2008, Massaro's tenure with WWE came to an abrupt end. While the official reasons for her departure were not publicly detailed, the circumstances surrounding her exit painted a picture of a career derailed by the person who should have been a mentor and leader. Massaro's allegations against McMahon were not isolated incidents. Her claims echoed the experiences of other WWE employees who had encountered similar behavior from McMahon. Grant's allegations, coupled with Massaro's claims, painted a picture of a culture that prioritized power and control over the well-being of its employees. The legal actions taken by Grant and others highlighted the systemic issues within WWE, as well as the need for accountability at the highest levels of the organization. Earlier controversies: genius or villain? As the visionary leader of the World Wrestling Federation, now World Wrestling Entertainment, there's no doubt that McMahon redefined the sport, turning it into a global phenomenon. His genius lay in recognizing wrestling not just as a sport, but as sports entertainment. Under his guidance, the WWF became a cultural force, with events like WrestleMania capturing the imagination of millions. Central to this transformation were wrestlers like Hulk Hogan, whose muscular physiques became symbolic of the era. However, behind the scenes, the pursuit of such superhuman bodies led to widespread steroid use. Dr. George Zahorian, a ringside physician for the WWF, played a pivotal role in this story. Known for his liberal prescription of anabolic steroids, Zahorian became a key figure in the steroid scandal that affected WWE. As the decade progressed, the use of performance-enhancing drugs in wrestling drew increasing investigation. The Anabolic Steroid Control Act of 1990 criminalized the non-medical distribution of steroids. In 1991, Zahorian was convicted of drug trafficking, and his trial unveiled the extent of steroid use within the WWF. This conviction caused a federal investigation into Vince McMahon's alleged involvement in distributing steroids to his wrestlers. The investigation concluded in 1993 when McMahon was indicted on charges of conspiracy to distribute steroids and possession with intent to distribute. The prosecution's case centered on the allegation that McMahon had conspired to distribute anabolic steroids to his wrestlers, with Dr. George Zahorian as the primary supplier. The trial, held in the federal district court, featured a parade of high-profile witnesses. Among the most anticipated testimonies was that of Hulk Hogan, the WWF's biggest star. Granted immunity from prosecution, Hogan admitted to using steroids, but denied any direct involvement by McMahon in their distribution. His testimony failed to provide the prosecution with the evidence they needed to convict McMahon. The defense argued that McMahon was being unfairly targeted and that the charges were an overreach by the government. The defense highlighted inconsistencies in witness testimonies and questioned the credibility of of those who claim McMahon had pressured them to use steroids. One such witness, Kevin Nails Wackeltz, alleged that McMahon had urged him to go on the gas. Gas was a common name for steroids then. Wackeltz's testimony was portrayed as that of a disgruntled former employee seeking revenge. As the trial progressed, it became evident that the prosecution's case was riddled with procedural errors and lacked concrete evidence. The jury, after deliberating, acquitted McMahon of all charges, delivering a victory for the wrestling mogul. The trial's conclusion prompted the WWF to implement a wellness policy aimed at curbing drug use among its performers, signaling a shift towards greater accountability. However, the 90s wasn't the last time that a steroid use case would rock McMahon and WWE's worlds, as another steroid scandal threatened to overturn McMahon's empire in the 2000s. In June of 2007, the wrestling world was rocked by the news that Chris Benoit had committed double murder-suicide, taking the lives of his wife Nancy and their 7-year-old son Daniel before ending his life. As details emerged, speculation grew about the role that steroids and other substances may have played in Benoit's actions. Wrestling is a demanding sport, and Chris suffered numerous concussions throughout his career, which would later be linked to chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, a degenerative brain condition associated with repeated head trauma. Reports also surfaced that Benoit had been receiving shipments of steroids from a pharmacy in Orlando, Florida, which was under investigation for distributing illegal substances to high-profile clients. Major news outlets, including CNN and ESPN, provided extensive coverage of the incident, with the story even making the cover of People magazine. The media's focus quickly turned to the potential factors that could have led to Benoit's actions, including the role of steroids, concussions, and the intense pressures of the wrestling industry. The term roid rage became a common phrase in the coverage as speculation mounted about the impact of performance-enhancing drugs on Benoit's mental state. The Benoit tragedy prompted a broader investigation into the use of steroids and other drugs within WWE. Authorities, including the United States Congress, began to scrutinize the company's practices, seeking to understand the extent of the problem and the effectiveness of the wellness policy. WWE was asked to provide documentation related to the policy, as well as drug testing results dating back to 1998. The company complied with some requests, but faced criticism for its inability to provide comprehensive reports on wrestlers' deaths, citing a lack of qualified personnel to conduct such investigations. As the investigation unfolded, the names of over 20 WWE wrestlers were linked to the Orlando pharmacy. In a bid to be accountable, WWE suspended several wrestlers, including notable figures like Randy Orton and Booker T. However, the suspensions were met with doubt, as some wrestlers appeared to receive preferential treatment, leading to accusations of inconsistency and favoritism. Vince McMahon, as the head of WWE, faced significant pressure to address the incident and the broader issues it raised. In a public statement, McMahon expressed his condolences to the Benoit family and the wrestling community, while also emphasizing the need for change within the industry. He highlighted WWE's commitment to improving its wellness policy and ensuring the health and safety of its performers. But in the case of Owen Hart, Vince McMahon did the opposite. Owen Hart, born into the legendary Hart wrestling family, was destined for greatness in the squared circle. Owen's wrestling career began to take shape in the late 1980s, and by 1988, he had secured a spot in WWE, performing under the masked persona of the Blue Blazer. Although his initial run was short-lived, Owen's in-ring prowess was amazing, and he soon returned to WWE under his real name. As the years progressed, Owen became a regular in WWE's mid-card and tag team divisions. However, as WWE programming evolved into the more adult-oriented Attitude Era, Owen found himself at odds with the company's creative direction. He resisted participating in risque storylines, choosing instead to focus on his in-ring performances. This decision led to the revival of his Blue Blazer character, this time portrayed as a comedic, over-the-top superhero parody. On May 23, 1999, WWE held its Over the Edge pay-per-view event in Kansas City, Missouri. Owen was scheduled to face The Godfather for the Intercontinental Championship, with a dramatic entrance planned for his Blue Blazer persona. The stunt involved Owen descending from the arena rafters to the ring. Although Owen had performed similar stunts in the past, this particular entrance required a new quick-release harness. As the arena lights dimmed and a video package played, Owen prepared for his entrance. Suspended high above the ring, he awaited his cue. Tragically, the quick-release mechanism malfunctioned, causing Owen to fall 78 feet to the ring below. The impact was severe, and Owen died immediately. The subsequent investigation revealed that the harness had been triggered by a subtle movement, possibly as Owen adjusted his cape. The broadcast team, led by Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler, struggled to convey the gravity of the situation to viewers at home. Ross, with a heavy heart, informed the audience that something went wrong and emphasized that this was not part of the entertainment.
Tragedy befell the World Wrestling Federation Federation and all of us. Owen Hart was set to make an entrance from the ceiling, and he fell from the ceiling.
In light of the unplanned development, organizers were faced with the dilemma of whether the show should continue. In a move that would become one of the most controversial decisions in wrestling history, McMahon chose to proceed with the event.
At the time, we didn't think of not continuing. None of the performers, none of the producers, not me, no one. Now, whether or not that is because as performers, it is ingrained in us that the show must go on.
This decision sparked an immediate backlash from both the wrestling community and the public. The media quickly picked up on the story with headlines questioning the ethics and priorities of WWE. Critics accused McMahon of valuing profit over humanity, arguing that the decision to carry on was cold and callous. Owen's widow, Martha Hart, was devastated by the loss of her husband and the father of their children. She would later file a wrongful death lawsuit against WWE, seeking justice for what she believed was a preventable tragedy. The lawsuit further fueled the public debate surrounding the incident, with many questioning the safety protocols and decision-making processes within WWE. Another significant legal issue arose in 1993 when McMahon was sued by Jesse Ventura, a former wrestler and commentator for the WWF. Ventura claimed that McMahon had failed to pay him royalties for the use of his commentary on WWF home video releases. The court ruled in favor of Ventura, awarding him over $800,000 in royalties and damages. This lawsuit highlighted the controversial relationship between McMahon and some of his former employees, further complicating his public image. Life and career. Vince McMahon's journey into the world of wrestling began long before he took over his father's business. Despite not meeting his father, Vincent James McMahon Sr., until he was 12, Vince quickly developed a fascination with the wrestling industry. His childhood was spent in Pinehurst, North Carolina, where he nurtured dreams of stepping into the ring himself. Vince pursued his education at East Carolina University, where he graduated in 1968 with a degree in business administration. In 1969, Vince made his debut as a ring announcer for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation's All-Star Wrestling. By 1971, Vince was assigned to a smaller wrestling territory in Maine, where he promoted his first wrestling card. His business sense and drive for success became evident as he occupied himself with the day-to-day operations of the company. In the year 1982, Vince took over the wrestling business from his father, Vincent James McMahon Sr., acquiring control of the Capital Wrestling Corporation. Vince had a vision to transform the regional wrestling promotion into a national powerhouse, breaking away from the traditional territorial system that had dominated the industry for decades. One of Vince's key strategies was to expand the company's reach through television. He understood the power of television in reaching a broader audience and worked tirelessly to secure national TV deals. Vince also focused on signing top talent from other promotions, with the recruitment of Hulk Hogan in 1984 being a defining moment. Hogan's charisma and appeal helped propel the WWF into mainstream popularity. Another of Vince McMahon's most important contributions to the wrestling industry was the creation of WrestleMania in 1985. This groundbreaking event was unlike anything the wrestling world had ever seen, combining athletic competition with elements of entertainment and spectacle. WrestleMania quickly became the crown jewel of the WWF, drawing massive audiences and featuring some of the most iconic matches in wrestling history. The inaugural WrestleMania, held at Madison Square Garden in New York City, was a resounding success, attracting celebrities and fans alike. The event featured a star-studded lineup, including Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, and Muhammad Ali, who served as a special guest referee. WrestleMania's success solidified Vince McMahon's reputation as a pioneering promoter, capable of turning wrestling into mainstream entertainment. His ability to innovate and adapt to changing trends was instrumental in the WWF's growth, as the company expanded its reach through television deals, merchandising, and live events. However, the path to success was not without challenges. Vince faced significant resistance from the established wrestling territories, which saw his expansion as a threat to their existence. Vince's aggressive expansion strategy often drew criticism from his peers, who accused him of monopolizing the industry. He also took financial risks, investing heavily in production values and marketing to create exciting events. As the 1990s unfolded, Vince McMahon's role within WWE surpassed that of a behind-the-scenes promoter, as he became an integral part of the on-screen drama that captivated millions of fans worldwide with his Mr. McMahon character. The genesis of the Mr. McMahon character can be traced back to to the infamous Montreal Screwjob incident at Survivor Series in 1997. During this controversial event, McMahon orchestrated the abrupt end of Bret Hart's championship match against Shawn Michaels, leading to Hart's departure from WWE. This real-life controversy was easily integrated into WWE storylines, with McMahon cast as the villainous authority figure determined to maintain control. A character fans love to hate. His on-screen disputes with rebellious wrestlers, most notably Stone Cold Steve Austin, became the cornerstone of WWE programming. The rivalry between McMahon and Austin was a storytelling masterpiece characterized by intense confrontations, shocking twists, and unforgettable moments that defined the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era, spanning from the late 1990s to the early 2000s, was a period of edgier content and boundary-pushing storylines. One of the most iconic moments of the Attitude Era was the infamous beer truck incident, where Stone Cold Steve Austin drove a beer truck into the arena and doused McMahon and his associates with beer. This audacious act of defiance showed the anti-establishment spirit that defined the era, with McMahon's character serving as the perfect counter to Austin's rebellious persona. The chemistry between McMahon and Austin was electric, creating a dynamic that kept fans on the edge of their seats week after week. The Attitude Era also coincided with the Monday Night Wars, a fierce ratings battle between WWE and its rival promotion, World Championship Wrestling, WWE. The peak of the Monday Night Wars came in 2001, when Vince McMahon acquired WCW, effectively ending the competition and solidifying WWE's dominance in the wrestling industry. The recent departure of Vince McMahon from WWE marks a historical moment for professional wrestling. For over 4 decades, McMahon has been the visionary force behind WWE's transformation from a regional wrestling promotion into a global entertainment juggernaut. In the months following his departure from WWE, McMahon has been spotted indulging in a series of extravagant vacations. One of his notable trips was to the sun-drenched Turks and Caicos Islands, where he was seen enjoying the serene beaches and luxurious accommodations. This trip was not just a solitary escape. McMahon returned with 7 kittens and a puppy, which he reportedly brought back to be adopted by friends. Italy was another destination on McMahon's travel itinerary, where he immersed himself in the rich culture and history of the country. These travels seem to be a deliberate attempt to distance himself from the controversies and legal issues that have plagued him since his retirement. Despite the gravity of the allegations against him, McMahon appears to be living life on his terms, unfazed by the storm surrounding him. However, McMahon's personal life is not solely defined by leisure and travel. His interactions with friends and associates have also drawn significant attention. Among these connections is former President Donald Trump, with whom McMahon shares a long-standing relationship. The two billionaires have been in touch regularly, though the specifics of their discussions remain undisclosed. Their history dates back to the 1980s, when Trump hosted WrestleMania events in Atlantic City, and their relationship has continued to evolve over the years. Despite the public's curiosity, McMahon's spokesperson has clarified that his interactions with Trump have been minimal, with only a brief conversation occurring after McMahon's back surgery. In addition to Trump, McMahon has maintained contact with some of WWE's biggest success stories, including Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and John Cena. Both Hollywood superstars have expressed their gratitude and respect for McMahon, acknowledging his role in their careers. Johnson, who joined the TKO board in late January, publicly thanked WWE executives for the opportunity, while Cena has spoken about his continued admiration for McMahon, despite the controversies. After McMahon's retirement, WWE struggled with the challenge of moving forward without its longtime leader. On a brighter note, with McMahon's exit, WWE was faced with the task of redefining itself in a new era. The transition was spearheaded by McMahon's daughter, Stephanie McMahon Levesque, and her husband, Paul "Triple H" Levesque. Both had been integral to WWE's operations for years, with Stephanie serving in various executive roles and Triple H playing a pivotal part in the creative direction of the company. Their leadership marked the beginning of a new chapter for WWE, one that sought to honor McMahon's legacy while steering the brand toward a modern and innovative future. Under Levesque's guidance, WWE began to embrace a more collaborative and inclusive corporate culture. The new leadership prioritized open communication and encouraged creativity, fostering an environment where employees felt empowered to contribute ideas and take risks without fear of punishment. The company implemented more conventional management practices, such as providing underperforming employees with progress reports and opportunities for improvement before taking disciplinary action. This approach not only improved morale, but also enhanced productivity, as employees felt more secure and valued in their roles. The changes in leadership and corporate culture were also reflected in WWE's strategic decisions. The company pursued lucrative media rights deals that underscored its commitment to expanding its reach and influence. In September, WWE signed a $1.4 billion agreement with NBC Universal Universal for the domestic rights to Friday Night SmackDown. Additionally, a 10-year, $5 billion pact with Netflix was secured, WWE, flagship Raw show and other programs to the streaming giant, further solidifying its presence in the digital age. These strategic moves were part of WWE's broader effort to chart a post-McMahon course, one that leveraged its rich history while embracing new opportunities for growth and innovation. The company's merger with Endeavor Group's UFC to form TKO was another significant development, with longtime Hollywood super agent Ari Emanuel serving as CEO of both Endeavor and TKO. This merger not only expanded WWE's reach, but also positioned it as a powerful player in the global entertainment landscape. At WrestleMania 40, held in Philadelphia, Stephanie McMahon Levesque made a surprise appearance, praising her husband's leadership and declaring a new era for WWE. This moment was symbolic of the company's resilience and determination to move forward, even as it navigated the difficulties of its past. Under Levesque's leadership, WWE is embracing a future that honors its storied legacy while forging new paths in the ever-changing world of entertainment. With a renewed focus on innovation, collaboration, and strategic growth, WWE is poised to thrive in the post-McMahon era. Did you enjoy this video? Click on any of the cards on your screen right now for similar content. Thank you.